Hey, I've been wearing my do-rag too tight. What's up, people? It's John here from JJS Consulting Tech. And yes, it's Super Bowl Sunday, so I know a lot of people watch the Super Bowl, so I won't be long. But this is a very important topic, and there's a whole lot of YouTubers. This was a trend, and even today, a whole lot of YouTubers still live by this moniker. Gear doesn't matter. I'm like, um, gear matters. Like that's the honest truth. Gear matters. The type of gear you use, what type of microphone you have, what type of camera you have, what type of lighting you have, all of that matters. Don't believe the hype that gear doesn't matter. We're gonna get a little bit into that, and you make your own decision as to if you think gear matters or if it doesn't matter. Let me show you a video real quick. Um, yeah. So this is Eric Floberg, popular YouTube video. This video came out 3 years ago, but I think this sums up most YouTubers, if not the majority.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about why gear doesn't matter.
That's the thing. That's most YouTubers. Most YouTubers will say gear doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what gear you have. Uh, as long as you use something, it's going to be good. So you can use any camera, you can use any microphone, you can use any light, while they have some of the best cameras, while they have some of the best microphones, and while they're using some of the best lights. I don't know if you can trust someone like that, honestly, because they're telling you one thing and they're completely doing something else. Let's look at a quick example. Say you're learning how to ride a bicycle. Now, this bicycle is fine if you're learning how to ride, versus something like this bicycle. But because you're learning how to ride doesn't make this $10,000 specialized S-Works bicycle of no effect. You just don't need it right now to learn how to ride, but it's still used for a certain reason. You can do the same thing with gear. All gear isn't for vlogs. All cameras aren't used for vlogs. All microphones aren't used for vlogs. All cameras aren't used for podcasts. All cameras aren't used for vlogs. They're used for special things. Yes, certain cameras are really good, are really expensive, but that don't mean you need it for right now, especially if you're beginning. So just like this bike analogy, learn how to ride first, but when you start to learn how to ride and you start to learn how to ride fast and ride well, you'll start to see some deficiencies in this bicycle. Like probably the gear won't turn properly. This probably isn't as durable. It probably won't last you as long. The tire probably will, the spokes will come out if you hit something. It probably hit a pothole and the tire will bend up. You get my drift. Then who knows? And later on your bike riding career, you might elevate to this one. Who knows? But because you are beginning with this doesn't make this bicycle useless. The same thing with cameras and microphones. Now, when you're starting out, if you don't know how to use a camera and you're starting to sweat already, if you don't know how to use a camera, if you don't know how to use a microphone, start with what you have. 100%. Start with what you have. That doesn't mean you'll stay with what you have. You'll eventually start to level up and get better equipment based on your needs. That's the key thing. So let me switch to a different camera. So look at this camera. Now, this is a basic webcam camera. Golly. And let's just put that right up there. All right, turn. Just work with me. Just turn right there. All right, I guess it wanted to do what it wanted to do. So, you're telling me that if I'm trying to do something professional, like a speech in front of high-profile clients, that this is acceptable? Now, if you're beginning and you're just doing vlogging and you're trying to learn the ropes and etc., this is fine. Not fine. I wouldn't recommend this, but it's okay if it's all you have. But that doesn't mean you should stay using this camera versus leveling up to this camera. As you see, you can, like, the colors are completely different. Oh, the colors are way different. The dynamic range isn't really good because it can't differentiate the highlights of the white in the web browser. It lacks a lot of features because it's a cheap camera. It's a beginner webcam versus something like this, which you see like the colors are more true. You see more detail. The colors in the back, they aren't like blowing out the image. It's a nice looking image, you know. Let's get to microphones. So let's use the microphone. The same microphone. So how about this? How does it sound? Does it sound good? Does it sound acceptable? Would you take me seriously if I'm trying to teach you about video and audio? If I sound like this? I don't think so. I think you get the point. That thing probably sounds crazy. Let me go back. Let me go back to this microphone right here. So what's the point? The point is, based on what your needs are, you will get the right tools to do the job. Starting out, yes, you can probably use your iPhone. You can even use your internal iPhone mic, but you won't stay using that if you're no longer a starter and if you're no longer a beginner. Oh my man, what time am I going live? I'm live right now. Yeah, jump on and ask some questions. Yeah. Yeah. So even if you're using like if say that you're going to like let's stay with the microphone. Let's stay with the microphones. Say that you're going to like a corporate event. You have a corporate client, and that you are you come with a Rode mic, like the Rode Procaster, you know, versus something like a professional lavalier, probably like a Sennheiser MKE2. You do your recording, and then you get home and you start editing. Both of these microphones will not sound the same. And no matter how much you do post editing, they will not sound the same. They'll sound kind of close, but they will not sound the same because they aren't built the same way. The MKE2 has a wider dynamic range than something like the Rode, that Rode Go, the Rode Video Go. Hold on. Let's see. So then for cameras or audio, if we don't have a big budget, what's the happy medium? That's the thing. If you don't have a big budget, you work within your budget. That doesn't mean you get the lowest of the lows because gear doesn't matter. That doesn't mean you go with like a Blue Yeti or something of that nature because I'm just getting a mic for a mic's sake and I'm getting a camera just for getting the camera's sake. You get something based on your needs. Like, say that you're doing a podcast. You don't want to look like you don't want to look like this in your podcast. You don't. You know? You don't. This is probably like a $100 microphone. But the thing is, if this is all you can afford, it is what it is. But I guarantee when you start making a bit more money, you're going to want to look better than this. Because the reality of it is that your clients definitely will notice. And presentation is key. Based on how I looked and how I sound, I was able to get a couple of clients. Why? Because they say, think of Zoom, for instance. Many people, they came on to Zoom looking a certain way, and everyone thought that was the standard, but someone pulls up better video quality, better audio quality. They're like, how do I get like this? How do I look like this? How do I sound like this? Because it's less distracting. It sounds much better. I can hear you much more clearer. How do I do such and such? You know? And that's how you do it. Well, no need to go off in a rant. Hopefully you got my point, Shay. Yes or no? Yeah? I forgot. It's a delay. You can answer when this video catches up. Yeah. Okay, so going back with editing, the same thing. If you're editing like a video and you're using, let's say, AirPods versus something like professional studio headphones, what you hear on the AirPods is going to be completely different than what you hear on something like these. Reason being, these have a more flat sound signature, so you can start to hear things that you won't normally hear with your AirPods, and you can start to try to fix those in post. Better yet, if you have a good pair of headphones while recording on set, you'll be able to tune in, whether it's EQ or do a simple gain adjustment, so you can like get rid of a whole lot of imperfections. Or for instance, like I was on a recent gig and I had a good pair of headphones, but there was a ever so slight ruffling noise when I was listening on the mix pre. Now, if I had like regular headphones, I probably wouldn't pick that up. But since I was able to pick that up on set, I was able to make the adjustments and not give the editor that much work. Yeah. So gear matters. The right gear for the right project matters. It can help your life be much easier. Uh, Tripods, for instance. Now, if you have like let's say a Canon C200. Yeah, let's say you have a Canon C200 and you're putting it on a photo tripod. Because what? A tripod is a tripod. There is no way you can use a photo tripod and pan smoothly. You just can't do it because a photo tripod moves jittery and stuttering. You need the right tripod. And even if you get a good video tripod or a decent, if you get a cheap video tripod, something from Amazon, something for like, let's say, $50. It won't last as long as investing into probably like a small rig tripod. With the small rig tripod, you'll see that it's a little bit more fluid and it lasts much longer than the $50 Amazon tripod. I had my fair shares of those tripods and man, they break a lot. And to like extend the legs and etc., it hurts your back over time. So just invest. I'm saying, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's no use for that $50 tripod if that's all you can afford at the time, and you just need to fire up some videos and just put out content on YouTube. Do what you got to do. Let's not go to the extreme here. I'm not saying that you have to save up all your money and get like a Arri Alexa or a Sackler Flowtech or some Tokina Vista Prime in order to start YouTube, or even what, like SM7B for audio to start YouTube. No. I'm saying if you have your iPhone, you don't even have a microphone, but you want to use your iPhone microphone, and you have like a small little phone tripod, this is a small little phone stand tripod situation. If you're starting out, do it. Boom. Use what you have, make the content. I guarantee you will progress and you will elevate your production quality. No one stays the same. No one stays in the same tier when it comes to production quality. You always have a beginning where you started from, and then you elevate by buying better gear, understanding how that gear works, understanding the purpose of that gear, and then using it to the best of your abilities. So yes, gear definitely works. As you clearly see, that's a camera, and this is a camera, and this camera looks way better than this camera right here. Also, this is a microphone. I can't find it. This is a microphone. Probably sound crazy. And this is a microphone. And this microphone sounds way better than that other microphone. These are things that you have to learn. The first thing to do is definitely learn and understand what you want to do and where you want to take your business, podcast, or production company, whatever you're doing that involves media. Have a goal. Have an end result of where you want to take it, and then work towards that. Gear will help you. Gear definitely will help you to get to that level. If you don't, I'm not saying throw a whole lot of money at gear. Again, I'm not saying throw a whole lot of money at gear and you don't understand how to use it. Use what you have first, and then when you want to go to the next level, gear will definitely help. As I show you in that video, a lot of those YouTubers that tell you that gear doesn't matter, they have some of the best cameras, some of the best lighting, some of the best microphones. Why is that? It's because they know that they sound and look better with better gear. The colors are a bit better. There's a whole lot more you can do with better gear. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Hey, Shay, did I answer your question? Did I answer your question? Any other comments? Any rebuttals? Probably you don't agree that gear matters. Tell me something. While I wait for that, I'll pull up something else. I'll pull up something. All right, let me show this other video.
Want your
Commercials. All right, let me show this real quick.
Guys, it's Max from OtterWorks, and if you're interested in photography, video, or just cameras in general, then you've probably
Boom,
studios.
boom.
Get started in photography and video, we spend a lot of our time, thinking about how I'm going to get my hands on the Canon R5 or what 85mm lens is going to give me the best bokeh effect, for example. We see a lot of top-end creators using all this high-end kit. And without even realizing, we set this expectation on ourselves that without this high-end kit, we're not going to be able to create high-end content. But I would say that the main thing to focus on when you're starting out in photography and video, or even if you've been doing it for a little while, the main thing to focus on is really figuring out what it is that you want to shoot. Different answers to that question is going to require just completely different equipment. So what matters is finding the gear that's right for you. Obviously, if I'm a wildlife photographer and I specialize in highly detailed close-ups of animals, then me shooting on a 16mm lens, that lens is just not going to work for me and my workflow. So many camera companies putting out equipment now that shoots in 6K or 8K. And
My man said something very important. He said something very important. You have to get what. Let me make sure I don't misquote him.
Putting out equipment now that shoots highly detailed close-ups of animals, then me shooting on a 16mm lens, that lens is just not going to work for me and my workflow. So if I'm a wildlife photographer, gear that's right for you. Obviously,
Yes, get the gear that's right for you. Getting a 70-200 in a podcast setting for a talking headshot, that might not work for you. It depending on what you're going for. But a 70-200 in like a wedding photography setting, wedding video setting that you can't get too close to the bride and the groom is perfect. It's the right gear for that setting. What's up, Kev? My man, Capture Productions. Hold on. Ecamm. Hold on. He said, do you think, okay, good. Do you think that clients judge you by what you use to determine the budget or final product? That's a good question. That's a really good question. I wouldn't say clients judge you based on what you have to a certain extent. Certain clients will look at your work and they will book you based on the work that they see, which is human knowledge. But certain clients require certain equipment because they like the look of that equipment. So it would help if you learn how to use that equipment if you're going for that type of client. So hopefully that answers your question, because it's a fact. There's certain clients that only require something like an Arri Alexa or a Red Komodo or a Sony Venice because it's a higher budget client and they have experience with that and they like the look of that and that's just what they want. At the end of the day, it's supply and demand. You give the client what the client wants. Now, let me get back to this video real quick.
If I'm a wildlife photographer and I specialize in highly detailed close-ups of animals, then me shooting on a 16mm lens, that lens is just not going to work for me and my workflow. So many camera companies put...
Like Kev said, I totally agree. Right, yeah. Because at the end of the day, if you are buying equipment just for you, it's an expensive hobby. If you're buying the latest camera, if you're buying the latest lenses, just so you can say that I got the latest equipment, it's an expensive hobby. I don't know why you're messing up your money like that, but it is what it is. But if you are buying equipment based on the demand of your clients, then that's a smart business move because you're going to make that money back. You mean to tell me that if I get a client that requires an Arri Alexa because they have the budget for an Arri Alexa and they want the Arri Alexa, and I show up with an iPhone 15 Pro because it has like ProRes log and I can color it, and the client is going to be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to give that a try. Even though I really want the Arri Alexa and I have the budget for it, I'm going to give that, that's crazy. That's crazy. No one goes to like Buckingham Palace. Well, what if you're like a server? You're a butler at Buckingham Palace, and the King of England asks you to prepare him a steak, and you bring him bacon and eggs because you're thinking, man, it's food. Food is food. What's going to happen to you? You're going to be fired. Might be off with your head. Supply and demand. You provide what the client wants.
Equipment now that shoots in 6K or 8K, and it's getting more and more common to log into Twitter and see people bashing each other because one person's setup doesn't shoot 4K 120. But I would put the question to you, do these things really matter? Does 4K 120 really mean that you're going to be able to create that bit of content that might get you hired, or is that the thing that's going to differentiate your work? Does spending the extra money to get 4K 120 in a camera matter enough to you to warrant doing that? Or would it be better to put that money into a new set of really high-end lights so that you can light your studio setup better and overall increase your production value?
Dan,
yes,
does gear matter?
It's a really tricky one, really, and I think we've kind of learned that along the way through Otter about learning whether gear does matter or not. And I think we slowly started building the business, and then we had like jobs would come in. We literally shot a 14-part documentary for the National Trust. which was worth to us a lot of money at the time. And we literally shot that all on the Canon 6D Mark II, literally on this rig. We would put that on that rig, and we would go around all these like crazy sites with National Trust up to Northern Ireland with a camera like this. And I shot documentaries on that. For me, the equipment is secondary after knowing the more important things about making a film.
Ben, does gear matter?
True.
Does gear matter? Dan, what do we think, mate? It's not that it matters, but it gives you things. An example I would give is probably our network access storage, our NAS, Synology NAS device. It is a 60 terabyte hard drive which has redundancy backup on the network. And that might mean nothing to you, it probably does, but what it does mean is that everyone in this room, in the office, can edit from the same hard drive, 4K footage in full with no lag, because we've got 10 gig Ethernet around here. And the whole setup probably is around in the remit of $3 or $4 grand. It's not necessary for you to have that to edit as a team. You can do it off hard drives, but it makes everything a lot easier, and it makes backing up a lot easier.
And it saves a lot of time. You can spend like $200,000. Hopefully you're spending it wisely if you have that in a business and you're trying to spend that. I'm sorry for digressing, but you can spend $200,000. You can make back $200,000 with wise decisions, blah, blah, blah. Here's the point. You can spend 2 hours, let's say 10 hours. You will never get back that 10 hours. Never. Time is more valuable than anything, because once it's gone, it's gone. Getting the right gear can help you save time. Save a lot of time. Like, for instance, I work with quite a few churches. And I went the free route many times because of the church's budgets and etc. The amount of time that I spent, the hours that I spent fixing specific issues, the amount of nights I was up to like maybe 3 a.m. fixing a specific issue, I can't get that time back. Versus if they just saved up a bit and bought the right camera or bought the right system in order to route the audio and the camera in order to sync up properly, proper lights, everything would run much more smoothly, and I wouldn't have to spend so much nights up trying to fix something that can be easily broken because I'm trying to do a shortcut. This is what Kev says. I think gear absolutely matters. It's like cars. All cars get you from point A to point B, but not all cars will do it the same, right? Or as comfortable. Yep. Will be, sorry, let me put that back up. That was mad quick. Will be two different, he continued, journeys. A high budget car will have Bluetooth, navigation, rear view cam, driving assistant. Yes. Let's bring it home because you're an editor as well. Can you use any chair to edit in for 10 hours? If gear doesn't matter. If a chair is a chair, can you just sit down, buy a regular chair at probably like Walmart and use it for like 10 hours to edit? You probably can. But after that 10 hours, your back will probably be killing you. And then if you keep doing that year after year after year, you eventually have back problems, and your back surgery will cost way more than just buying a Herman Miller or whichever other chair there is that's built for long sitting sessions. See? He loves his back. Me too. Gear matters. In that predicament, gear matters. We've continued this vid.
And faster. Is it required? No. Does it make the quality of the work better? Not necessarily. Does it make the workflow better? Yes. Is it safer? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Does it make me happy? Yes. Does it make the guys happy? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, does gear matter is kind of up to you, but I think long term it's the best solution and it's worth investing in. It's worth the money.
Long term. That's another thing a lot of people don't mention. Long term. Now, if you're getting into like YouTubing, and you're just doing it, run of the mill because you want to try something new, pull out your iPhone, try something new. It's fine. But if you're serious about it, you want to do podcasts, you want to do coaching, you want to do reviews that can get sponsors and etc. You have to think long term. One thing you don't want to do is buy something or buy the same thing 5, 6, 7 times. One saying that always resonated with me is buy once, cry once. So invest the money in something that's good, that will last you probably as long as your career, if you can. Things like cameras and whatnot, we know those fails. Lenses though, if you get a good proper lens, that lens can last you 10, 15, even 20 years because lenses hold so much value. Same thing as a microphone. A very good microphone can last you 10 years because you put that research into it and you made the investment in that because you're thinking long term.
Joss,
Hello.
does gear matter?
Yes and no.
Okay, explain.
So on shoot at the minute, our main A cameras are the Canon C200, which is a cine camera, and the C70, which is this camera here. And on paper, the C200, which is the more expensive, higher end cine camera, is the better camera. But 9 times out of 10, we are opting for the C70 because not only is it cheaper, which is a great point, but it's smaller, it's more practical. We all prefer the color and the image that we get out of it. It's a lot sharper and it's much easier to work with. But the reason we're able to get such good results out of the C70, even though it is the cheaper camera, is because we already know the fundamentals. We've invested more in lighting and sound and monitoring and all those other things that aren't just the camera. So we can use the cheaper, I guess, more entry-level camera and maximize everything out of that because we've already nailed all the other fundamentals. Not that the C70 is an entry-level camera.
That's another point. They aren't, like he said, he's not putting the money into like a more expensive camera. He's putting the money into lighting. He's still spending the money though. He's still investing in something. Now, if you have really good lighting, you can get away with a lesser quality is relative because C70 versus the C200 is like, C70 is still a $6,000 camera. So that's relative. But the whole point is they learned and they invest in something else that will more like cause them not to put too much money or the same amount of money in another area. Because to be honest, a lot of people don't have unlimited cash flow. So if you can do something that compensates in a particular area, go ahead. But he isn't being cheap about it. Because good lighting is very expensive. Very expensive. It's not just sticking an Elgato light on your desk and thinking that's it. that's good lighting. Nah, there's a lot that goes more into that.
But on paper, compared to the C200 and the rest of their cine range, it is. It is a cheaper camera, and on paper it should underperform compared to the C200, but it doesn't.
Finding the right equipment to help you make the things that you want to make is one of the most important things that you can do as a creative. But it's so easy to get carried away in all of it, go down the rabbit hole and end up watching hours and hours and hours of camera reviews of cameras that really aren't going to provide you with much more value than the cameras that you have already. Being intentional with the equipment that you invest in and really having an in-depth knowledge of the kit that you already have will yield you much better results than owning a £20,000 camera rig that you don't know how to use. The main takeaway for this video is obviously gear does matter, but the basic principles of photography and videography and all of the things that come prior to spending thousands on camera equipment are the things that are going to make you a better creative. The camera kit comes second. The most important thing is to nail the foundations of photography and video and figure out what it is exactly that you want to shoot as a creative. So
100%. 100%. 100%. Gear matters. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner and you don't know the basics and the fundamentals. But once you start to learn and you start to understand what look you want and the sound that you want, that's when you buy the right tools, aka buy the right gear to help you to accomplish that goal. So, yes, gear does matter. I'll keep fighting with other YouTubers because a lot of them are hypocrites. That's strong words, but just look at their videos. They'll tell you gear doesn't matter, but they have some of the best cameras, some of the best microphones, some of the best lighting systems. And they'll tell you it doesn't matter while they continue to use that. It's not like they switch over and start just using an iPhone or a webcam or a Blue Yeti for the rest of their videos. Nah, they might switch to another higher end prosumer camera or another higher end prosumer microphone, but they see that sticking with those type of equipment produces the quality that they want. So that's all there is. That's all there is to it. The main takeaway is do not go into debt trying to chase after these advertisers, these YouTubers that are advertising the newest gear and the newest this and the newest that. Work with what you have for right now, but have a goal, have a look, have a sound that you want to achieve, and work towards that. Invest in learning, so when it's time to buy the right gear, you'll make a wise purchase. You'll make a wise purchase that can last you years and years to come. Why? Because you did the research and you understand that this camera works for me, this lens works for me and what I want to accomplish. I get this microphone because this microphone works better with my voice, and I can keep this going for as long as I'm doing the YouTube podcast or whatever you're trying to do, you know? Yeah. So hopefully this has been you were able to learn, and this was like fruitful to you, and you can make wise decisions going forward. Don't believe everything that a YouTuber tells you. Do your research. Do your research. Learn, and that way you can properly execute. Yeah. So that's it for today. That's it for today. That's it for this week. I'm gonna catch you guys next week. Peace.